itself is lovely. It's nice to see it. It's beautiful, but really,
So If it's Friday afternoon, it must be another episode of Forza. Wait, hold on. It's not Friday. It's Monday. What the heck are we doing here? Where are we? We're not in the regular streaming studio. What's going on? Welcome, everyone. My name is Brian. This is the inaugural episode of our Forza Monthly show. It's not Forza Friday. It's not the Tuesday Drive. It's Forza Monthly here on the first Monday of June. Welcome, everybody. It's so great to have you here. So much going on in the world of Forza, and this show is all about the latest Forza news. If you read ForzaMotorsport.net this morning, you realize that the June CU is coming tomorrow, June 5th, for Forza Motorsport 7. And here today, for the first time, we're going to show you all the cool stuff that's happening in the world of Forza. But first, before we get to all that stuff, I got a crew with me. I got some peeps. We're going to talk to some of my friends here from Turn 10. It's great to have all these guys here with me for the very first time. All the way on my right, all the way down at the other end of the couch, we've got Scott Lee, Artistic Director for Forza Motorsport 7. Scott, how are you?
Very good, and thanks for having me in your home. You know, it's a lot cooler than I imagined it would be.
It's cool because this is my home. Yeah, you're right. It's way cooler than my home. But this is the studio where we shoot Forza RC. You guys might recognize this studio. We're doing the monthly show here as well. Scott Lee, you are the Artistic Director for Forza Motorsport 7. You and I spent some time when Forza Motorsport 7 launched a few months ago, and here we are, still talking about Forza 7.
Yeah, you know, this is an exciting time. We were working furiously to finish the game back then. You know, I looked really tired. We were crunching hours and stuff. And guess what? Months later, we're kind of still doing the same. That's a real testament to this team and to Forza and what we are planning to do. It's a game that never ends. We're going to keep making it better for you.
And we're going to get into a lot of that today. You're going to hear a lot more details about that. But let's interview a guy that probably needs no introduction. John Schommer is here. John, how are you? Welcome.
I'm pretty good, thank you. It's awesome to be here at this different studio.
Yeah, let's just do another show, right? Let's just put on why not?
Yeah, 3 days a week streaming's not enough. So yeah, I'm good. I'm ready to go here. This is awesome. We
had that big hole in Monday that we just needed to fill, didn't we?
It's going to make Mondays so much better.
I love it. So, and last but not least, to my left, Chris Esaki, Creative Director for Forza Motorsport 7. Chris, welcome.
Thank you. This is great. Thank you for having me.
It's our pleasure. Now, Chris, as Scott mentioned, you know, we continue to work on Forza Motorsport 7. This is an ongoing project.
Yeah, this is a little bit new territory for us. The team has been 100% focused on making this the best game it can be. As you can see, we'll go through today with the June CU. There's so much content and so many new features, and it's all community-based. We're listening to you guys as much as possible and trying to get all those features in. And we have so much to come in the future here, so can't wait to talk about it.
And we're going to talk a lot about that today. But before we do that, we want to take you back a little bit to our appearance in May on an episode of Inside Xbox, where we were talking about all the cool stuff that's coming to Forza Motorsport 7 in the coming months. Let's give you a brief recap of that appearance on Inside Xbox.
It's great to have you here because this isn't necessarily something that Turn 10 has always done, right? Talking about new features early.
Yeah, this is really exciting for us to be here because just as you said, we have never done this before, I would dare say, show features that are work in progress. You guys are going to see some stuff we've never shown off before, which is awesome.
All right, good.
I love that appearance because we talked about a whole bunch of stuff, Chris, that we'd never talked about before and showed stuff that we never showed off before.
I think this is a Forza first, where we showed showed some of the Forza race regulations prototypes.
That's right.
And I don't think we've ever shown anything with kind of debug menu stuff going on, not finished artwork, the track limit lines. Yep. I mean, that's all stuff that we haven't finished the visuals on that. We showed that too. And these are just some of the peeks into all of the work that we're doing to make the game better. So many new features. I was looking through the release notes again just the other day, and before we sent them out, and I just couldn't believe how much we're putting in for this month alone. So it's incredible.
It's great, and we're going to dive into a lot of that today. One thing I should point out, if you missed that appearance on Inside Xbox, definitely check that out on the Xbox YouTube channel. And if you want to know the details of what we're talking about today, there's a story on ForzaMotorsport.net you can check out. Let's dive in, guys. What do you say? Let's play some Forza 7.
Let's get to it.
The first thing we want to show off is probably your realm of expertise. We've got a new free car, right?
Yeah.
This is a car. This is our sort of Ford Spotlight car that you're seeing right here. John, this is the Zack Speed Roush Mustang. Tell us about this amazing car.
Well, the first thing you all want to know is free. Everybody gets it, so there's no hard feelings there. Everybody gets this car. It'll be out tomorrow. And this is a classic IMSA racer. I mean, take one look at that wide body there, and you can tell that we're somewhere in the late 70s, early 80s. It's got all the things that come with those cars. Yeah. Incredible turbo lag, lots of grip, a screaming 4-cylinder engine. And so let's take it around the track here and see what I can do with it.
That's right. So we're at Watkins Glen, obviously.
Yes,
we are. A place this car probably raced. Is that safe to assume?
Yeah, I don't know exactly which races this car went. It was at a very transitional period for Ford, and there was changes going on amidst IMSA between different classes. So this is a car that was created to compete in the GTP class, I believe. So it was, but at the time that was a crazy period. These cars, as you can see, are nothing like the production models, aside from the basic silhouette of the car. Look at that RPM red line there. What's the RPM red line on this car?
I'm going to say 10,000.
Yes, and
that's incredible.
That's incredible. There's not a lot of cars that I know of, and not a lot of cars in Forza that have that RPM red line of 10,000.
What's modern F1? Isn't it like 16 or something?
Yeah, so I guess excluding Formula One cars, which are just kind of.
But I mean, I'm just saying this is approaching those levels.
Yeah. 1.4 liter 4-cylinder with a huge turbo on it. We're talking 500 horsepower that comes at you, kind of like a freight train. The last 3 seconds before you die. 1, 2, 3, and all of a sudden you just need to hang on and hope that you're going straight, because otherwise you're going to be in the wall very quickly. And hopefully I won't demonstrate that part there. But listen to that. Look at that.
Yeah, it sounds incredible.
And comparatively, an actual 1982 GT 5.0 high output would have redlined, what, like 4,800 maybe?
I was going to say 5, yeah.
And pushing 120 horsepower we were discussing earlier. Big in the 80s, though.
That's right.
Yeah, and this is of course, this is a real race car. This was a car that Roush, was hired to build, and that Zack Speed was hired to race. This was Ford's, factory effort, essentially, to be in the IMSA series. And it's not a real notable car in the record books, but as far as the transition of cars for this period, you compare it to, look at this Bob Sharp Nissan we're coming up on here. It's an incredible era.
Well, this Ams Europa, by the way, let me say some hellos in chat. Hello, Spotlight Gaming and V12 GeForce and Ams Europa. In fact, John, Europa has a comment about this car. He says, it looks like a Capri reskin, but this is actually a successor to the Capri, right?
Yeah, that body of the Capri, went away, sadly. One of my favorite cars, definitely, that long hood on the Capri. The Capri essentially became, a clone of the Mustang, made by Mercury instead of Ford. And from the back, as I lock up here and put her sideways.
No rewind.
Dead.
Oh my gosh. That's going to happen. That's going to happen.
Happens, yeah.
I am not a professional IMSA driver.
Oh, but nice re-entry. That was polite.
Yep.
The Porsche, the whale tail appreciates that.
And then throws it all away. But yes, looking at it from the rear, it does it almost looks like the actual, the original Zack Speed Capri. But if you look at it from the side, there's your Fox body Mustang, right? Let me try to get in a straightaway here so we can do that without wrecking. Of course, it's 2 or 3 feet wider than your standard Fox body Mustang, but this is the Mustang that we all knew and loved in the 80s and 90s.
So what was the Capris had these, this strange bulkiness to them that looks a bit foreign to us these days, 30 years later. What was the idea behind having so much car here, such a wide car?
Well, they were looking for a reason to make the word fat sound cool.
Right.
So they started making these cars. No, actually, everything you see is functional. They want downforce, they want aerodynamics, they want slipstream, they want to channel air to the brakes, to the intakes, but mostly to give the car grip. This is and also just to accommodate the tires and wheels. The wider your stance is on a car like this, the more grip you're going to be able to get out of it. So this car's got axles that are 6 or 8 inches longer than the standard car, and that big silhouette side there is housing the wheels and the tires.
It's from the Sir Mix-a-Lot School of Design.
Right.
Yeah.
Bigger's better.
Yeah.
Especially in the rear.
Yeah.
Roadrunner says he's probably going to race marshal you because of that crash.
That's all right. That's all right. It wasn't intentional. You
That's
could
right.
see. You could see that it happened live here. It was surely my bad driving that caused that.
No intent there, Roadrunner. No intent. So
This is why I
some-
do shows like this instead of compete in the Forza RC.
that's right. He's a competitor for sure.
I want to point out some details here, me being the art director. I want you to appreciate the kind of work and attention that goes into some of the things that we do. If you look at the labeling here, this is authentic 80s era hand punch
Like
adhesive.
stickers, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
you know, like label maker things
Oh.
where these things were plastic and the letters were metal, and when you pressed it, it would deform and create this kind of white lettering on the plastic.
Right.
Only things that middle-aged people would know. There you go.
right.
Yeah.
We're old.
Yeah.
Dated.
Yeah, it's funny to think, now we use a computer and we pick a font and all that fancy stuff, to make a label look just right. But back then, if you wanted to label something, you either had like a Sharpie pen
Here's your
or
font.
one of these
Yes,
label makers.
Exactly. The label maker's the high-end way of doing things.
Yeah, I mean, and the Sharpie, usually did quite a good job for, your non-factory
Yeah,
labels.
masking tape.
Whatever it took.
Sharpie.
Masking tape, yeah, there you go.
Well, we're coming to the end of lap 3 here. What I love about this car most is that it's going to be free for everyone starting tomorrow. Everybody's going to get this car, so you're going to be able to experience the beauty and the power of the Zack, the frankly frightening power of the Zack Speed Roush Mustang. This thing is crazy. It sounds amazing. John, just a few words on how it feels to you. What does it feel like?
It feels like the other IMSA cars that you may have played in Forza 7. There's lots of turbo lag. There is lots of grip. It's scary fast. And we'll play with it tomorrow during the Tuesday Drive and race in multiplayer, and you guys can see how I match up against you, which is usually not very well.
Yeah, we'll all be racing the same thing. Do some spec racing in the Zack Speed Roush. I love it.
Yeah, that's the other cool thing, is just putting these cars together with the other IMSA cars we've got in the game and putting them all together to see how they compare. That's just a cool opportunity to see.
Nice.
Well,
Cross the
ninth
line.
place. I mean,
Excellent.
Nice.
Respectable.
Respectable. That's right. Talking and driving is never easy. Well, thank you for that, John. There's your look at the Zack Speed Roush, the free car that's coming for the June update starting tomorrow. Can I take over?
You may. Here's the controllers
I
in
want
your
to mention
hands.
something real quick.
Go for it.
Yeah, so you mentioned this was the Spotlight car.
That's right.
I don't know how much we've talked about what we're doing with the whole Spotlight program and kind of what the whole focus is and why we're doing this, but something that I've been really passionate about, I know Scott as well, really trying to get into a new place with Forza and actually have a real more meaningful experience around individual cars, or perhaps even manufacturers. In this case, our whole Spotlight program is really designed to light up all these different experiences around a free car for the entire community. It's not just, hey, here's a free car. It's what can we do with this thing, and building a whole kind of ground in motorsport history, as well as just what is fun to do in this automobile. So that's why we have, with all of these Spotlight events and the Spotlight cars, we have events that light up in tandem with it. We have Rivals events, we have Hoppers, we have perhaps leagues, and even Forzathons that support all of these things. So it's just kind of what we're doing right now. We'll be doing Spotlight cars for here until eternity. This is kind of what we're trying to do with the franchise. You'll be seeing a new Spotlight car and even Spotlight manufacturers every month the way we go. So
We actually started it in May.
Yeah,
With the Honda Civic Type
absolutely.
R. If you guys were paying attention to the stuff that was happening around that car, a lot of stuff happening in with Honda cars, not just the Type
That's
R,
right.
but just Honda in
It was
general.
kind of Honda month for
That's
us.
right.
And yeah, we lit up a bunch of events around Honda, which was great. And we actually saw, just in the community, tons and tons of activation, people playing and engaging with the Civic Type R and just Honda in general. It was actually really great. This is what we want to do with the franchise, is really ignite people's passion around individual cars and those experiences. And that's what we're doing with the Spotlight.
And so you'll see more, like Scott's mentioning, Chris is mentioning, you're going to see more of these types of events happening throughout the month in June, including Forzathon. We're going to take a look at Forzathon in just a bit, but I thought we'd jump into multiplayer now, because we got some guys at home playing multiplayer. So I'm going to jump in with them really quick. The way this works, guys, just so you know, is I'm not on my regular gamer tag of Ekberg. We're on, because we have yet tomorrow's update now, we have to be on a special gamer tag. But we've got some guys back at home at Turn 10 who are racing right now. I'm going to jump into their race to show you guys some of the new multiplayer features that are happening right now that we just adding to the game with the June update. You might have heard of tuning in multiplayer, test drive. We've got some multi-class stuff that we could talk about, Chris. That's going to be awesome. I love multi-class. That's like my bread and butter. With Forza, John knows that. But so these guys jumped right into their lobby, and this is actually perfect because the first thing I want to show off, Chris, is test drive
do it.
tuning.
Let's do it.
So I hop into tuning. You're waiting. You come into a lobby. You're waiting for the lobby to begin, and now you have the ability to make some adjustments on the fly, right, Chris?
So you can just jump right into test drive, but now.
Here, I'll pause it as if we were actually going to do this.
Yes.
So actually, a couple of things you can do here, right?
Yeah. So you can go and, incredibly enough, you can actually tune your car without having to back out of the multiplayer lobby. I know this is something that has been really frustrating for the community and for me as well. Just like this is something inherent in actually being competitive. Being able to tune your car and then actually test it out and drive it. You can do that all within the multiplayer lobby, all within test drive now. So you never have to jump out and oh, you forgot the right tune. You have to go out and load it back up again. You can do all of that here.
So you see, I've just made some sort of random adjustments to my car. You hit the A button, and that applies that tune to
Boom.
your car. So right
Way to
now,
go.
I've got whatever I did to my car there, I've got it applied to my, oh my God, it's undrivable. I don't know what I'm doing, right? This is horrible. So you can make those adjustments on the fly.
On the fly.
You can save your changes. The thing that, for me, who I'm not a tuner, that I really appreciate is you can load tunes. So you can go grab a tune that you love. Now, this car in particular, obviously it's not released yet, so we don't have any tunes, but you get the idea of we could go into the tuning menu here, go to the setup manager, go to load setup, and then you'd have all the tunes.
All of them. Like, you can make Race Boy a lot more money in game.
Just what he needs.
By buying all these tunes. For sure.
I know a lot of people, and I'm looking at chat there, and I think a lot of people are fans of that particular feature because this is the kind of thing people want. They want to be able to load their tunes on the fly. They want to be able to tinker with cars maybe they're not that familiar with in the moment and just want to play around. That's what test drive is for.
Absolutely.
I love it.
I think this is just a big win for us to get this back in the game. It's something that I know everyone's been wanting, and we've just had a lot of difficulties actually lighting this up. So bear with us, guys. We're trying to make this thing great again, and it's been a long road to get to this place. But this particular thing, for me particularly, right, it's just such an important feature to get back in the game.
And of course, when you're done tuning your car, just like in a regular multiplayer match, once the lobby is done, the people in the race finish their race, you're going to be pulled back into your lobby as you'd expect. It's just one more thing you can do in test drive to make your experience a little bit better.
That's right.
One other thing I love about this is you can adjust your assists for the first time.
Yeah, this is so obviously the Forza franchise is this history of becoming the most inclusive and accessible product out there. The incredible racing title that allows players to do anything they want to help them race the game and play the game the way they want to. And we've had some really some newsworthy things happening with accessibility recently.
That's right.
Both with the Microsoft Accessibility Controller. That thing's incredible. We've done a lot of work with that. We actually have also some things with low vision work, and even trying to make this game playable for people that are super low vision or even blind. All of that work is getting into the game. Long story short,
Right.
all of these assists that allow people to get in the game and just play of all abilities. We had this problem where you couldn't actually change your assists once you're in a race.
Right.
Once you're in multiplayer. So if for some reason you wanted ABS off and you had it on, you had to back out of the lobby, turn it
or
back
do it
on.
the next race.
Do it the
and you have
next
to wait.
race, yeah. So this just allows you to do that on the fly. It's just another helpful feature.
Here's my use case for this.
Yeah.
We go from a C-class car to an Indy car on Forza Friday, and I forget to go from manual with clutch to manual. Right? You want to be in manual in an open wheel car like that to save your sanity.
Just bang it.
Now, at the beginning of the race, I go to assist. I forgot to set it. you can set it here, and
Yeah.
no more forgetting, oh my God, I forgot to
Yes.
go to manual. You
Yes.
can do it in the middle of a race.
Yeah, this game is very, very not much a set it and forget it type of game.
Right.
You will
Exactly.
you will forget
Yeah,
everything.
you will forget.
Yeah.
A lot of things, especially when you get deep in, you know how you like certain settings for certain cars,
Yeah.
John. You know that you now you have the ability to set things up. Even if you forget, you have the ability to catch up with yourself.
Yeah, or for me, you know, maybe I feel good about a car that I have a brake setting on and I don't need ABS in that car, but the next race I need to change it to ABS so I don't have to depend on the settings I had for that car.
Right.
Totally nice to be able to access that. Or if you just started a race and you know your kid was the last one that played and it's all set to automatic and braking line and all those different features that you don't want to use, you don't have to jump back out of the lot.
Yeah.
I'm seeing questions. Chris, do you know the answer to this? I'm seeing questions of whether tuning is only in the test drive lobby or if you can adjust the tuning in the multiplayer race itself. I think it's just
No, it's just in test drive.
Just the test drive.
Yeah.
Okay, which is good news because you don't want to be able to
Assist you can change at any time.
at any time.
But my understanding is that you can only change the tuning in test drive.
Great, great. Well, there you go. There's a look at multiplayer tuning. Now, that's not all we're doing with multiplayer in Forza Motorsport. Easy for me to say. Forza Motorsport 7 with the June update. Chris, we also have password-protected lobbies right now coming tomorrow.
Yeah, a nice little update here. So to support a lot of our esports efforts and just the sanity of private lobbies, right? We added just password protection. It's easy. So if you want to have a super private session, don't want random friends joining randomly to your session, yeah, it's all password protected. So
That's awesome.
Nice little simple.
Nice little feature there. And
Yeah.
of course, my favorite thing, we touched on it earlier, multi-class racing is coming back to Forza Motorsport 7.
Thank goodness.
Man, I hear angels singing above me right now. This is incredible. I love this. You guys,
Yes.
if you ever watched a Forza broadcast, you know I love the old ABC's hopper that we used to do in
Absolutely, yeah.
Forza 6.
So, so we're finally bringing a lot of the support back. We'll have independent scoring and leaderboards shown for the different multi-classes
Yep.
in the race. So rather than being jumbled into the entire leaderboard, top to bottom, start to finish, you'll actually see your class and how you rank against your class. So that's a nice little feature. We also have another feature where you can turn off or toggle this, the ability to stop the race at a specific time. This is also something that plagues multi-class. If you have a really, really fat, like an S class, X class, whatever it is,
Yep.
and you're racing against a really slow class or in the slow class,
Yep.
right now the game will basically start a countdown sequence when the first person crosses the finish line. So if you're racing against super fast cars, they can finish the race well before you.
And you may not finish the race at all.
At all, right.
Right.
And so this time we've opened up features that allow you to kind of tune that, and maybe you can base it off the slowest class and their finishing time, so
Right.
so everyone can finish and everyone can compete. So that's coming.
I love it. I can't wait to get started. We got an ABC's lobby on the way. I can't wait. We're going to be doing that probably weekly on Forza Friday because that's my favorite way to play Forza. So look forward to that. We got awesome multi-class stuff coming, multiplayer, lots of details in the story today. Let's move on from multiplayer. Thank you to the guys back at home who are playing with us. Appreciate you guys making this possible for us. We're going to finish this test drive and actually move on to another aspect of the game. Let's get out of here, and we're going to go and check out Forzathons because Forzathons have changed up a little bit.
Oh my goodness, so much to talk about. So, all right, we have a brand new system around Forzathons.
Yep.
And previously we had it tied to this kind of Xbox achievement system, and we've had some rough spots with that initial implementation, and so we've just run into a lot of unhappy scenarios over the last 6 months with Forzathons. We've completely redone that. It is now all in the game. It is no longer dependent on the achievement system. And I did see someone tweet earlier around, hey, does this mean we no longer see achievements for this? That is correct. You will no longer see achievements specifically for, you don't get achievement points for them anyway.
Right.
But you won't be able to track them via the achievement system. It's our own internal system, but it also means they don't They don't fail. You will always get rewarded. You will immediately get notified about what it is and your progress toward it. And most importantly, because the system is now, we're happy with it, it's solid, there will be new Forzathons every week. 3 new Forzathons every week, rather than the 3 per month that we've been rolling with so far. Starting this Friday?
Today, these are live right now,
excuse me.
Or at least on this build, these are live right now.
I actually think these go live on Friday.
Okay. Well, here's a sneak peek.
Sneak peek.
Yep.
This is a sneak peek. You'll see these 3 Forzathons light up this Friday, so you guys can understand kind of the structure of the Forzathons going forward. Every week there will be 3 Forzathons, a single-step Forzathon, 1 2-step Forzathon, and a single 3-step Forzathon.
And I accidentally did the 1-step
You did
already.
So it's easy enough to do. What I like to do on some of these is actually kind of double up, and you could have gotten the very first Forzathon while doing one of the other ones as well, but you blew
Efficiency,
You blew it.
Once again.
Couldn't wait for that driver gear.
Couldn't wait. I got to get that skull flash.
As you guys can see, there's some pretty nice rewards here. That Ferrari California is not too shabby.
Ferrari California, and you can see I've already done the 1-step challenge that we're looking at here, but as you can see here, in the lagoon is a 2-step challenge. First step is win a race at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca in Forza GT division car, and celebrating our community is a 3-step Forzathon. So as Chris was saying, we'll have a 1, 2, and 3-step available every week. I love this because it gives us the power to be more frequent, more variety in there.
Yes, every Friday.
Yep, I love it. So yes, when these go live, you guys are going to be able to dive in, get awesome rewards like the Ferrari California, this Vega, and the driver gear that I already got. So that looks more like your style, John. That skull of flash.
Yeah, I could totally rock the skull. Anything with a skull on it is totally my thing.
It's good. It's fair
down
game.
with it. Looks like the helmet that's at my desk.
I think that is the helmet, modeled after you.
Sculliflage rolls off the tongue as well, gotta say.
I don't think I pronounced it right yet, but I think you nailed it, so that's good. You know what? Let's. I want to show off one other thing. I want to get in a diff. Well, I think we could stay in this car. I want to show off a new photo mode feature that we've got, which I love. We've got a lot of photographers out there.
Forza-tographers?
Forza-tographers.
Forza-tographers.
It's a big deal. You know what? I'm going to move over to a daytime setup here. What do we think? We want a bright track, right, Scott?
Let's do something kind of sunny.
Let's do like Laguna, maybe?
Yeah, sunny,
Nothing sunnier than
contrasty,
California.
dusty, warm. I gotta say, when you're looking for a car in an image browser, and you go, okay, I need some screenshots of said car. When you punch up a car, you often get Forza screenshots rather than actual photos. And more often than not, they are screenshots done by our community.
Right.
Because they're better artists than us, it turns out. We really kind of appreciate how much kind of love goes into a lot of these shots. There's a lot of artistry and composition behind it. It's quite amazing. And we want to add some tools to make that stuff better. We want you guys to share more of the cars that you love in our game. And this is only the beginning.
This is only the beginning, and this actually, I didn't realize this feature was even coming in till late when Colin's like, hey, we got a new photo mode thing going on. Well, really? Tell me about it.
Yeah, so
it's awesome.
Colin Reed, who's our engine lead, he loves photo mode, but he also kind of really loves browsing the community's photos.
Yeah.
It's funny, like he goes, how do they do that? How do they capture that? And this is something he's built himself. He kind of took up on himself to go, hey, I'm going to make some improvements. I want to make that experience a lot better.
So we're going to go into photo mode here, and we just started this race at Laguna Seca, and I want to show first what the new feature is before we get Scott to talk about it in detail, where you go to get this. So, haven't done anything to this yet. We're in photo mode. We can move around the car and so forth. We're on Xbox One X, of course. If we go to effects mode, which on the console is hit the Y button, this will bring up this menu here. And what you'll see is that there's actually 2 options here. Previously, it was the tracking, and there actually wasn't a toggleable option here. It was just the tracking camera you were using.
That's right.
Now we've got a new option that you can choose from called panning. Scott, can you tell us the difference between tracking and panning here?
So with panning, basically the idea is our game camera to behave a lot more like a real camera, and then to be able to add, as you can see, you're previewing some of the blur effects and things like this, and really kind of pinpoint where that blur is. So you can kind of focus on an area of focus that is determined by you rather than by the screen space. So you have a lot of functionality. It's not just like having a real camera, but it's actually like having software to start manipulating that image too. And if you had to kind of jump this into something like a Photoshop and try to recreate this, you'd have to create like 17 layers and really know what you're doing. You know, this is a real kind of easy way to kind of jump into making things, you know, kind of really action-packed. You know, capturing sort of a moment in the race is really tough. And you know, you get these kind of moments, and you know, we want real, you know, the people to have the ability to have real composition and make some really cool shots, because it makes us look good too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think you can actually see this in action really simply here. I'm no photographer, I'll be the first to admit it, but if you look at, I've focused the focus of the camera on that left front portion of the car where the scrapes are. And if I toggle, right now we're in tracking mode, if I just toggle to panning, you can see the effect on the background and how dramatic that blur effect is.
Absolutely.
The depth of field is what you're going to
Exactly.
be able to manipulate much
So
more.
that's exactly it. So it is a combination of depth of field and of motion blur. And as you can see, you can sort of isolate your car. You can kind of reverse that so that your car is isolated in reverse. And these are all kind of things that happen in real life photography.
Right.
And you know, the amount of functionality we have in here, I think, is just going to open the doors for all the great artists out there to make some, you know, screenshots that we haven't seen before.
What I love is look at the front of the car in focus in panning, and the rear of the car is out of focus. I mean,
Exactly.
in tracking mode, the most of the car is in focus here, but look at the difference here in panning mode. It's amazing.
Exactly, and you know, depending on how close you get to certain details, you can even get very, very close to certain details and kind of blur everything else out. Something like an iris tilt or something like that. You know, you can do all kinds of real novel things that you know, really we couldn't do before.
Well, I'm going to take this shot because I think it looks good.
Sweet. I think that would look
That
great.
would look pretty good. And as a reminder, guys, we have weekly photo contests, and this thing goes in the game tomorrow. So I want to see some panning shots in our weekly photo contest this week, because you guys have a brand new tool to play with. Hope you guys enjoy it. Let's see some awesome panning mode shots in our weekly photo contest this week. Anything else about panning mode that you want to mention, or shall we move on?
I think we can move on. I'm just
Okay.
really kind of excited about getting this into the hands of all the great photographers out there in our
too.
community.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
All right, well, there you go. There's a look at tracking versus panning mode in photo mode. A couple other things we talked about, Chris. We talked about all the spotlight events coming in. We're going to have Rivals events, Ford-themed Rivals events. We actually have, John, also a new reward car that people are going to get for taking part in our Rivals event, a Ford Spotlight Rivals event. It's the 81 Fiesta. Is that
It's
right?
an 81 Forza edition Ford Fiesta, of which I own two.
Oh my God.
So I'm kind
You
of
own a
familiar
Forza
with.
edition? That's incredible.
It's on its way. It's on its way. It's a work in progress. But yeah, the original Ford Fiesta was actually my first car, so I have a bit of a love affair with it. So I'm really happy to see a Forza Edition version of this car coming out. It's got the awesome wheels. It's got special tuning you'll only find in this car. And they've really exploited some of the awesomeness that you will see these cars do in the real world.
That's awesome. So you'll see that car, you'll see the event going up, I believe, tomorrow, the new Rivals event with the Spotlight car, and you'll be able to check out that Fiesta, not just as a reward in that Rivals event, but also as you'll be able to check it out in a league that's upcoming, one of the league seasons we've got. That Fiesta is going to be part of it, so you get a sneak test drive of that Fiesta before it comes out as a reward. So look out for that. Chris, one other thing I wanted to mention, and guys, we are definitely going to talk about Hoonigan. That's like the second half of the show. We are totally going to talk about Hoonigan, because I know a lot of you want to talk about Hoonigan. We will do it, but data out is a feature that probably needs some explaining for those of us who aren't necessarily computer tinkers and master developers, but it's a new feature that is with the June update. What is data out?
Data out is all about supporting sleds, mostly motion sleds. Like if you've got a really nice rig at home, and been waiting for this, we're finally lighting this up. Data out is coming on the June CU. So it's awesome. Motion sleds will be all active. However, it's just a pure data stream. So what we've done in the past with these type of data streams is allow tinkers to go and build all sorts of crazy contraptions, if you will, with this data. You can do anything. You can change the hue color on your Philips light bulbs,
Nice.
based on redline if you want.
Oh, wow.
You can have another screen with all your different HUD elements that you've created. You can track position or time or all these crazy things. It's just data. It's just a data stream. So.
Yeah, so we're making that available. That will be, I believe, a HUD option that you'll be able to choose from once you have the June CU. And you guys, like Chris said, this is an opportunity for tinkerers to get creative and make use of this data that we're outputting from the game.
So this is just another one of those things where we're really trying to light up for all the people who are super passionate about the game and allow them to experience it the way they want. They've spent so much money on these sleds.
Right.
They're incredible.
It's time to put that thing to work.
Yeah, they can put it to work.
Well, if you're interested in learning more about that and you have the aptitude, the understanding of what data out means for you, you can check out the post on ForzaMotorsport.net. We've got a link to the data structure in the forums, so you can go in there and see exactly what kind of things are outputted, how you can make that work for your particular setup. And I can't wait to see what creative stuff you guys come up with, so that's awesome. You know what else is awesome, guys? We have a friggin' McLaren 720 behind us. I think we should take some time to appreciate this car. Thank you to McLaren Bellevue for bringing this car into the studio and letting us take a look at it. We're actually going to, Scott and John are actually going to take a tour, a walking tour of the McLaren.
Lucky.
I know, right?
I know.
Does that mean you guys get to drive it as well, or you just get to walk around it?
Well, my understanding was I would get to take it home.
Oh, is that right?
Later today. So that's why I paid for parking till tomorrow. But yeah, so this is 2018 McLaren 720S. This is the Super Series model that McLaren offers. It's basically one tier below what you would see the P1 as being. It's awesome. It's got the dihedral doors. It's got this crazy paint. It's pretty much the best McLaren you could buy before you get into the super limited production McLarens like the P1 or the Senna.
So what you're trying to say is that this is the affordable McLaren, not
affordable,
really.
Easily affordable at $378,000 as optioned. Yes.
Piece of cake. It is beautiful in person. I got to say, I've seen so many kind of magazine articles and videos about this, but seeing it in real life is kind of mind blowing. And our team was building this. And obviously, this is going to be in the game shortly. We had kind of we use CAD, and we get data from the manufacturers, especially when it comes to new cars. And the attention to detail that we have is equal to the actual manufacturer. The size and scale of the rivets and the bolts, they all have to be exactly right. The one thing that we have to take artistic impression of is really the paint. And if you take a look at this glorious spec, this glacier white and black. Yes, yeah. It's a beautiful name.
It's a beautiful contrast.
It is white, but it's not. It's gold and blue and gray all at the same time.
It's violet, depending on the light.
It's kind of glorious, and for us to try to replicate this kind of many tens of thousands of dollar paint job in the game is really tough.
Let's walk around the side.
We have amazing shader artists who actually try to replicate metal flake in our game and roughness, and this is always a real challenge.
Hey guys, one of the people in chat asked, can we just put this car on top of the P1 in our lobby and just stack vertically all our McLarens?
Yes, that's a great idea.
That would be awesome.
But what is we see on this side? I don't know if the crowd saw it on the B-roll, but it says MB Edition. What is MB Edition? Is that a special edition of this car?
That's the McLaren Bellevue Edition, which my understanding is it comes with a window sticker.
Oh, okay.
It says where it came from. But the 720 stands for the relative horsepower that it comes out in some German term that I won't even try to enunciate for you, but it's close to horsepower. So it's got around 710 horsepower, 720 or something that I totally bungled. But this thing has got a carbon fiber tub, right, like most supercars do. But in the case of the 720 and the McLarens, it actually integrates into the roof. So you've got this safety cage built into you out of carbon fiber. You've got these amazing lines with intakes that are drawing air down into the braking, that are drawing air into the intake, while creating this whole inner kind of clam part of the door that it looks like, if you drove this thing down a leafy road, you would have a pile of leaves in here because it's a whole nother layer of the car.
I wouldn't want to wash this car. I think it's going to be a lot of work.
If you own this car, you're not washing it yourself. Probably.
Exactly. I wouldn't know that. You know, I got to say that there is nothing on this car in terms of detail that isn't something that's functional or shouldn't be there. That's sort of a testament to McLaren and their design sense. You know, it really is kind of racing first. It's about functionality first. And if you look at all the hood scoops, obviously all these things are functional. The carbon fiber spec on this thing is kind of insane. It's gorgeous. And just kind of organically, it seems kind of simple if you look at it from afar. When you get into it, if you see all these kind of lines, it is unbelievably complex. And I'm glad that we didn't have to hand build these cars because it would have been impossible to replicate. It is a sculptural work of art.
But it's precisely because it's so detailed. That's why it takes so long for us to make a car in Forza, right? Because we're replicating those details.
Yes, it's not because we're lazy.
Right.
It is because it's very, very difficult to do. And mind you, when we built a Forza car, they are modular like real cars are. You're able to swap out the wheels. You're able to open up hoods. You're able to tune the car, and all these values are kind of real. And for us to be able to have that function, we actually build our cars much like an assembly line. So, you know, there's frames, there's bodies, there's suspension bits, and brakes and wheels, and they're all kind of separate.
Interior.
And interiors, obviously. Speaking of interiors, the thing is just a wash in the most beautiful Alcantara.
Yeah.
I wish you guys could smell this. I wish we could have smell in Forza. I think that's coming up next.
That's got to do next.
Because
I love it.
it just smells like money.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
Beautiful money.
There's so much Alcantara in
takes.
this car. You actually created an Alcantara expert. Is there
Absolutely.
something we talk about
you
there?
know, I don't know if this is a great thing. It might be a little embarrassing to say how much time we spent trying to get Alcantara right in Forza Motorsport 7. It is glorious. It might be one of the best materials ever rendered in a game. I'll say that right now. And a testament to our art team to really kind of put that stuff together. Alcantara, you know, making things shiny is easy in a game. Making things flat is very easy as well. Making things shiny and flat and then seeing fingerprints, that's really difficult. And, you know, I think all the fans out there can go take a look at the new car as well, but other cars like Lamborghinis and Ferraris that have Alcantara in the car, take a look at the level of detail, the fingerprints, the streaks, and have a new appreciation for our tech artists. Kudos to our tech art team.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Kudos to that team. Well, thank you guys. Appreciate that look at the McLaren 720S. We're going to dive back into Forza Motorsport 7. Chris, did you have a
I
comment?
did.
Yeah.
I wanted to bring a little bit of the geek factor back.
Let's
into
do it.
this. Yeah, you know, we're talking car culture and cars and this amazing McLaren. I just want to say, like, I'm a game designer. Mm-hmm. Scott and I have been working on other games outside of racing for a while now, and we've made a lot of action adventure games and shooters and that sort of thing. And when we were taking a look at this car earlier today, it just struck me as something really funny. As a game designer, I always thought about these cars with, you know, you see these police shootouts, and they have the doors open, and they're taking cover behind the, you know, the different doors. And I'm like, you know what? I don't think these supercars are really good for cover shooting. Like, you would never use it.
You get your leg shot up.
Yeah, the doors would go up, and then, you know. Anyway, I thought that was pretty funny.
I love it. One other point. You might have heard John sort of tease it at the very beginning of talking about that of the 720S. This car is coming to Forza Motorsport 7 in July.
Bam.
Just wanted to put that out there. You guys will be able to drive this car starting next month, so it's so awesome to have the 720S. Thank you again to McLaren Bellevue for bringing it by. Such a beautiful car. Really appreciate it. All right, second half of the show. It's time to just hang back and play some Forza, I think.
Yeah, it was a while back that we did the Hoonigan special show, and that the Hoonigan Pack has been out there. If you bought Forza Motorsport 7 at the time, but everybody's been wanting to drive these cars, and now everybody is going to get the Hoonigan Car Pack tomorrow.
Yep.
You get it free
If you're
you
a
have
Car
the Car
Pass
Pass or no. Otherwise, if you never got the Car Pass, you'll be able to buy the Hoonigan Car Pack. And if we're going to start with the Hoonigan Car Pack, I think we start with the Hoonicorn, because this thing is just ridiculous. There's not many cars that are actually as ridiculous as the Hoonicorn. It's built for drifting. It has so much power. Let's see, are we not ready to race here? Let's
Well,
go.
we're not in multiplayer, so you'll have to jump in there or do whatever you want, really. This is free time. So, guys, we're going to be playing some Forza Motorsport 7. What's up, Chris?
All right, so Twisted Drifter.
Somebody wants to drift?
So since we're talking about drifting and got the Hoonicorn up here, or the Hoonigan up here,
It's a perfect segue.
That's a perfect segue.
Yeah.
I mean, we teased it out a little bit. Is that, I think we mentioned on the Xbox Insider?
Drift angles?
The drift angles.
We did. Yes, we did.
Yeah, so I can go a little bit more detail into that.
Let's do it.
I can't give you a date. It's almost done.
Still working on it.
It's soon. TM.
Yep.
But yeah, we have fully adjustable, tweakable, tunable drift angles coming, much past the steering angle that we currently have. And we have a whole new scoring update that takes into consideration a lot of the ways that people are actually using drifting right now, actually playing drifting, and setting up their events to drift. We know that the current drifting scoring system just isn't working for them. So we've made a lot of changes. We've talked with ESDA. We've talked with a lot of other people in the drifting community. Of course, drift angle is one of the most requested features. That's lighting up really soon. A whole new drifting scoring system will be part of that as well. So yeah, that's coming soon.
I know. I can feel like the internet exploding because of our drifting news. They love that in the chat.
Yeah.
So can't wait to be part of that and show it off.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much goodness.
Hang it out.
I just wanted one wheel off.
Yeah, so much goodness coming in this drift kind of physics update. Some of the other things that we're really excited about are a better ability to catch the car once it starts going a little too far. Or
What do you have for your
so
e-brake
it's-
button?
The e-brake is A. Yeah, A.
so it's becoming even more drivable, but also it's a lot more exciting
Right.
as a drifter.
Well, if you guys have questions about any of the things we've talked about today for the June update that's coming tomorrow, or stuff we've talked about inside Xbox, I just want to preface by, in a lot of cases, those things are still in development, like Chris mentioned. So we don't necessarily know exactly when they're coming. What I can tell you is that we're working on all the things we mentioned. So, but if you have some questions about how steering angle is going to work, the new experimental drag feature that we touched about on Inside Xbox, we can take some of those questions. So hit us up in chat, and we'll do our best to answer as many of those questions as we can. John, Hoonicorn.
Hoonicorn, definitely a difficult car to drive and drift. It's got its own.
Sure, it's the car.
Well, in this case, I will blame the car because the Hoonicorn is just entirely unique.
Like
built for Ken
Tokyo
Block,
racing.
the way he drives, all-wheel drive, 1,400 horsepower, nitro, meth breathing.
That was a good little sequence right there.
Yeah, I can get it going a little bit. It's just
Good Lord.
to try to actually get one good lap of drifting. That's the thing. And I think
Well, hey, you know what? Feel free to adjust it the way you want, because we're on my profile right now. So if you want to adjust assists, anything like that, button assignments is
let
fine.
me just make sure everything's good here. Okay.
There's a couple of interesting things as we're kind of waiting for this, talking about drift again, is that, as we're developing this and as Chris was mentioning, this is a bit, a real kind of work in progress for us.
Oh, into the pits! You pitted yourself, dude.
Oh, no. We're going to have to stare this
I
for all
drifted
this
right into this. I meant to do that.
This is perfect timing for it. Is that the drift community is sort of like the grassroots community now, right? Like it's where guys kind of pick up, cars for cheap and work on it themselves and go racing. It's such an exciting kind of energetic, thing like in the old days when people would be able to do it on the cheap. As we're kind of building our cars and the new angle kits, we're kind of finding the same problems that these guys are finding. Oh my God, our fenders are getting in the way of the new angles and things like this. It's just like real life, and things that we're trying to solve, just like a real drift community is trying to solve too.
That's interesting that we're running into the same problems, and then how do you solve that? Are you just gonna get out the sheet metal shears?
You're supposed
Take
to
it to
shear
the
it out,
roll
you gotta
shop
punch it
and
out,
clip
you
'em off.
gotta do it on the
Shop it
cheap, right? Get out the Dremel.
That's right.
TGS Haas says the new motorsport is pit drifting.
Pit drifting.
I love it. Hashtag pit drifting. We got
That's
a new
actually a
form of
good idea.
motorsport. I love it. Hey, we're seeing a lot of questions about the penalty system, what we call Forza race regulations.
Ooh, boy.
Can we talk a little bit about that?
Yeah,
We sort of
absolutely.
introduced it with Inside Xbox.
There's so much going on with the race regulations for Forza
Right.
Racing.
That's right.
And the first part of it, like we've showed the whole line or track limits, right? That's actually going to be shipping fairly soon.
Cool.
And we're going to be doing that in tandem with some other things. I did see some things in chat around, when we're going to get things like wiping the leaderboards.
Yep.
Because we're going to have to do that when we have new track limits, basically. That's a whole part of it, right? And then wouldn't we want to have things like the time attack, rivals events, all cars across all tracks,
right,
also being done around the same time, right? When we do the leaderboard wipe, well, that's what we're trying to light up all the same time.
That's right. It's a complex set of systems.
It is. There's a lot of things all tied up into just the track limits themselves. Because basically, people are going to have to learn how to drive, quote unquote, clean, what a Forza clean lap is now on all the different ribbons, on all the different tracks. So yeah, it would make sense to do things like the leaderboards, have a bunch of new rivals events that allow you to set times and that sort of thing. So that's coming. The next step is the real actual race regulation system. It's a super complex system. You guys got a little bit of a taste of it on the Inside Xbox or Xbox Insider Edition.
Yep.
Didn't mean to rewind.
We showed a little bit of the tease of there, and I've read some speculation as to what's going on there.
They were looking at all that.
Oh, everyone,
all that code.
frame by frame.
Yeah.
That's what's happening. We have an amazing amount of logic going in there to help determine intent around collisions. To help understand truly when you're cutting corners and what that's doing to your actual place. And this is all about just making the race fairer and making the multiplayer environment much more inviting and safe for everyone to go in.
What I love about the way that I've heard you guys talk, the designers and developers talk about the Forza race regulations, is that it's not just penalties, right? It's not just we're going to punish you for doing a bad thing. We want the system to teach you how to be a better racer.
Yeah. So yeah, it's the yin and yang of just better player behavior in multiplayer and overall. It's better racing, better driving. All of that can't be done with just a big stick. Right. So the stick is coming. That's part of the race regulations, but also part of race regulations is kind of a system that encourages better driving. And just that is, I'm going to leave it at that because we're really early in development there.
Yep.
But that is where we are headed, is kind of the yin and yang system of just better driving.
Yeah, some more to say about Forza race regulations. Believe me, we know you guys are all super curious about the system. You want to know more about it. You want to learn about how this thing is going to work. We have more to say about it, and you can imagine that on a program just like this, we'll be sitting down and going through that system in detail.
Yeah, it's super complex. We're probably going to there's this thing called flighting in industry jargon, right? And basically, it allows us to give certain people access to certain features. To help test this in the wild, to see how people are actually using it. We have tons of people playing with this feature. We have a lot of our even race marshals have taken a look at it. Some of our FRC Forza RC drivers have actually seen some of the very early player penalty Forza race regulation system in actually working. This is all very, very early. And what we're hoping to do is flight this out to a small set of people. Start getting a bunch of feedback around it, increase our ability to really make this fair, because it is a complex system. And there's some machine learning in there that we have actually building out.
Lord.
So this is a big effort of ours.
Yeah.
So hopefully we can start rolling this out pretty soon.
John.
I also kind of noticed that there was a lot of comments about tire walls.
Yeah.
Going, hey, race regulations, what the heck happens to tire walls?
Yep.
Well, let's do the math. We're very excited about that situation as well. Yes, tire walls are a stopgap, like that.
John,
the race regulations are going to take care of that
drifting.
stuff.
Okay.
Let's do some drag racing, because we can also talk about drag racing as well.
Awesomeness, okay.
And we got a perfect drag racer in the Hoonigan Car Pack, right?
Yeah, the Tri-5 by Fire.
Yeah.
Awesome 55 Chevy. Let's go right there and let's go get that car.
Drag racing.
Yeah,
So,
Tri-5
do you want to do this? Do you want to do it in free play, or do you want to do it online?
What's up to you? I can. in free play here, I can
let's
just go against myself.
Let's do it here. Let's do it here. Let's get into cars and keep going. Maybe we'll do a different track though.
Yeah,
anyway,
gotta go to a drag track.
Yeah, we'll go to a drag track for sure. One of the things I was most excited about, Chris, and Scott, you too, was the fact that we're bringing in a mode that we've never done before. We're not, you talked about flighting the new FRR system, the Forza Race regulations, but we're bringing in a new mode that we're looking for a lot of feedback on.
Yeah, so this is the drag racing mode that we've been talking about. That we,
well, this is not.
This is not.
We should be clear.
We're
not showing that off here.
Sorry.
It's not ready yet.
Sorry, guys. We are not showing off what we're internally calling the experimental drag racing mode.
Right.
It looks so cool.
It does.
It really
looks
looks
awesome.
so
It does.
cool. I've heard great comments.
We're going to show this off really, really soon because it's almost done. It is a great addition to the feature set around drag racing. It makes it a real experience, a more authentic drag racing experience. So yeah, we're looking at everything from having a pretty awesome Christmas tree with a little bit of randomization in there. We have a whole thing around reaction time and basically instant restarts. You can foul. You can actually blow the start of the drag race. We've been talking about other features like tire warming. That is something we're looking at. Burnouts,
baby.
Absolutely.
Yeah, tire warming.
Burnout. You can rev match right now. That's one of the actual things on the launch is actually just doing a really good rev matching type of thing. So you can actually have a great launch experience. I think if I remember correctly, the last person that checked this out was Raceboy was down not too long ago.
Okay.
I think last week maybe.
Maybe.
And he was checking it out. He's apparently, I didn't realize this, he was actually a huge drag racer himself. So he was digging on all of these new features. But yeah, these are coming soon. These are all coming
Being able
soon.
to go just to race
Yes.
again
Race
right
to
away.
race. That's what I was
This is
gonna
right
say.
here, you might even hear me in the stream complain about this from time to time. I'm impatient.
Right.
And if
We
I'm
wanna get back to
drag
the start
racing, I don't want to race for 10 seconds. I want to race again. I want to race again. I want to race again, and that's going to be so cool. To be able to-
So what we've done is remove the whole reward structure sequence, right? Where you'd finish a race and you'd get the credits and you'd
You
get
heard
the
me.
Yeah. So all of that's gone. All of that's gone. You still get all of those rewards, and you'll see a little tally, and it just kind of accumulates over time. So whenever you're ready to cash out, you can take off, but you just go race to race to race to race. So it's just instant action, always on the track, drag to drag.
And I love, I'm not a drag racer at heart, but I love those stats at the end that show you, like you're saying, your
super
0 to
stat
50 time and all those stats that drag racers really care about.
Yeah, we have the 60-foot marker. We have the quarter mile time, of course, the reaction time. All of these things are just they're trap speed. Like this is what you dig on.
Right.
Making it real for drag
That's
racers,
right.
giving them the information
And
they
it's-
need
and
to
it's
have to be improved.
fundamentally- Yeah, it's fundamentally a brand new loop. It's something that we haven't really had before, right? And it's a different kind of racing experience. Like one of the biggest things, and honestly was like a huge pet peeve of mine as a fan of the game, was the fact that drag racing is about unpredictable starts, about the players not knowing when the green light comes on. And a 3-2-1 go goes completely against the spirit of what drag racing is about. And I think our new drag tree really is the new deal breaker. It's the thing that kind of changes the game altogether.
Well, it's just all about immersion too. When you're sitting there at the drag strip, you're looking at the tree. You're not waiting 3-2-1 go. You're
Exactly.
You're immersed in the race. You're waiting for that
Yeah.
tree to drop. I mean, that is drag racing. So that's just super exciting.
So when we say, what do we mean by experimental drag, right? That means that it's something we're
we're still
wanna learn
playing
about.
with it. I mean, this is why we're gonna release it in a. We have greater designs. For
right.
this.
It starts in free play.
Yes, we want it to be something that is obviously multiplayer. Right now, it's going to be in free play. We're going to learn a lot of just releasing this to the public and getting everyone to start playing it with us. And our whole plan is to continue to add features in all of these different modes to make them more robust and to make them just a better playing experience. And it's all about the gameplay.
Yeah.
So, our time here is within drag. We're just going to start doling out features, and that's what we're trying to do.
Love it.
Yep.
All right. Well, John, let's move on from drag racing. Maybe we go online. Maybe we do some racing with some Hoonigan Cars online. If you guys want to join us, now's a great time. We're going to spend the rest of this show doing some multiplayer and playing Forza 7 with you. My gamer tag is Mecberg. John's playing on my gamer tag right now, Mechberg. You can join us. We'll hop into a lobby and play a few races, maybe in some Hoonigan cars.
Sure.
That sounds pretty good to me.
Go.
As a reminder, the Hoonigan Car Pack is available tomorrow. Now, if you pre-order the game, you probably already have it. But for those of you who don't, we heard loud and clear, why can't I get the Hoonigan cars? I want those Hoonigan cars. Starting tomorrow, if you don't currently have them, you can buy them. If you've got Car Pass, you will get the Hoonigan Car Pack. No extra charge. Those cars will be yours if you missed them in pre-order. I should also point out we have 2 other packs coming to Forza Motorsport 7, one of which is including this guy back here that will also be included with the Forza 7 Car Pass. So it's a good time to have a car pass.
Yeah.
Lots of value.
I love that.
Lots of value.
And the Mustang, the IMSA Mustang coming out tomorrow, and your opportunity to win my Fiesta.
His Fiesta, that's right.
It's going to be super cool.
Well, we got Huber in there, so he's ready to go. I don't know. What do you think? Where do you want to start off?
Well, I don't know. Let's see here. If I got to think of what car I'm going to drive.
Oh yeah, that's right. Well, maybe you do it in a class then. Maybe do it in the class hoppers so you can get in.
Just do a regular.
What do you think? Like A? Maybe.
I usually do private lobbies, so this is all kind of foreign.
Oh my
to me.
God, an aristocrat.
I would like to play with certain people.
That's right. Let's jump into a class
And
hopper.
the name Snooty just
Snooty.
came up. It was right from
Perfect.
the
I
top.
love it. Let's go to A class and see what Hoonigan cars we have access to. And then we'll go from there. Yeah, we'll spend some time racing with you guys. That's what we like to do on Forza 7. And remember, tomorrow you'll be able to take advantage of all those new multiplayer features that we were talking about earlier. We're talking about tuning and test drive. We're talking about all the assists you'll be able to take advantage of, assist changing on the fly when you're in a race. It's going to be awesome. So can't wait for that. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Photography is
Forza
like
photography.
a new world now because
Yep.
panning. I mean, that is so tough to nail a panning shot.
Yeah, it looks like we're having a little bit of trouble here getting online with this right now. We're in a new studio. We've never played Forza 7 from here before. We'll try one more time.
Blame it on Seattle.
Yeah, we'll blame it on Seattle. That's what we'll do. It's so cold out there, by the way, guys. We're all wearing jackets and sweaters because it is freezing. It's June, like 4th or something, and it's freezing outside. That's Seattle summer.
It was raining.
It was raining. Well, that's Seattle. I get it. No problem with the rain, but yeah, we're all wearing. We're all cozy because it's not going to work. That's fine. We'll go. We'll play later. Right now, we're going to say goodbye and thank you guys for being here. Remember, the June CU for Forza Motorsport 7 will be here tomorrow. John, in fact, will be taking this whole thing for a brand new swing with the Tuesday Drive, as he usually does here on the Forza Motorsport Mixer and Twitch channels. He'll be going through, spend some more time in the Zack feed, I imagine.
Oh yeah, I'm going to start with that thing for sure. And we're going to have some IMSA class racing, bring your favorite IMSA car. That's just going to be the start of what'll be tomorrow on Tuesday Drive at 1 p.m. Pacific here on Mixer and Twitch.
Yeah, don't miss that. And we will have more great stuff for you. In fact, we got streams all week. He'll be back on Wednesday, Thursday. I'll be back on Friday for another edition of Forza Friday. And until then, until tomorrow, Scott Lee, thank you so much for being here. Appreciate your time.
Thank you. This is great.
Handshake. Chris, any last words?
It's been a blasty blast. I just wanted to say, we are here because of the community. And our fans are everything to us. And so we are trying to do everything we can to make a great game for them.
A tear slowly rolls down his eyes.
I love it. No, but I think it's a great point. I love the fact that Inside Xbox felt like a real turning point for us, where we were showing stuff. Hope you guys enjoyed this monthly format. We want to be here back here again in July to do another show for you and talk about all the great stuff happening in the world of Forza. Love to hear your feedback about this show, so let us know what you thought, and we would love to hear that. For Scott, for John, for Chris, I'm Brian Ekberg. We will see you next time. Thank you for joining us on our first Forza Monthly show. Bye-bye, everybody.